Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night, and you know what that means. It's SARCO, South African Racing Community Online. And tonight we're coming to you from Oschersleben. And tonight, unfortunately, it's just going to be me in the racing seat as Dylan's going to take a back seat. He unfortunately has quite a bit of work to get through. And so I'm going to be flying solo tonight, and hopefully I can bring you all of tonight's action as we see Alpha Tiers taking the track at the moment. And I'm picking up a bit of a feedback, so if the race director can hear me, perhaps he can just help me out because I can hear myself talking in the background, which is actually quite disturbing. So on the track at the moment, leading the pack, we've got Jakes in the Mara 55. So leading the track, it's actually fourth on the field at the moment with Morris now coming out the pits. I think he's actually gone back into the pit, so maybe he's just picked up a bit of some sort of penalty and decided to maybe change his tyres. Maybe he just picked up a bit of traffic and actually had to go back into the pits to just reset and go out again. And I see him coming out the pits here. He's just waiting for the front leaders who are coming through, and he sees it's all clear and makes a dart for it. So everything fine there for him at the moment. Still gaining feedback there, Mr. Race Director. Just gonna adjust my PlayStation Right, so I'm just doing another sound check, so just bear with me, viewers, as we try to get the sound coming through. And unfortunately I'm still getting some feedback there. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Okay, I'm just going to do one more sound test and let's see if that's improved the sound on my end. Right, that does definitely sound better. I'm not getting feedback, so that's quite a relief, because it's one thing to commentate and then it's another thing to hear your own voice coming back and it can be quite confusing at times. So at the moment we have Christopher setting a time of 137.6, sorry, 138.6. He's the fastest guy on the track at the moment. With just a minute left, I think we're going to see those times coming down. I was watching the guys in practice earlier, and there was a good couple of 137s I saw. And at the moment, Christopher with the 138, followed by Jakes of 140.2, and close behind him is Lendor with a 141 flat. In fourth position, we have Tyler, followed by Gav, Brandon in sixth position, then Vaughan in seventh, and in eighth position at the moment we have Stephen with a 143.9, followed by Mr. Bond, then Marius, who had probably a little incident coming out the pits on the first lap, and I wonder if he's going to be able to cross the line, and doesn't look like he's made it. So he's unfortunately only posted a time there of a 141.3, and I'm not sure if that's going to be quick enough to put him on the in a good position for the start of the race. So we can really see Lendl has moved up to 4th now, and has dropped Morris down to 5th. And we're just watching the guys coming over the line now. It looks like Christopher has finished his qualifying session, as well as Jake's. So they will go no further in this qualifying. Gav has now decided he's had enough, and still on track Lendl. It looks like he's also finished, and I think that's probably as quick as he's going to go. Let's see if Tyler will improve. Nope. I think that is going to be the end of qualifying. I think not much is going to change from there, as we see the cars now slowing down and returning back to the pits. So guys, if you are back to hear me and there are any problems, please put up a note on the Discord or on Facebook if you can see us and hear us. Out on the Facebook page at the moment, we have Alan Southward, who's posted the first message. Enjoy, guys. Looks awesome. So thank you, Alan, for sharing your thoughts there. So, guys, if you're not familiar with tonight's format, we start out with a 5-minute qualifying, then a 20-minute race, 2 20-minute races to be exact. The first race tonight will be with a light shower of rain, and our second race will be a little bit interesting. There'll be a reverse grid for the first top 6 drivers from the first race. They will reverse, and we'll see a change in the weather as well. So an interesting night's racing up ahead as we wait for the synchronization and the guys to get ready for their race. So there we have the sync that we've been waiting for, and just waiting for those lights to go. And lights out, and away we go. And a good start there by Jakes off the line and out, dragging Christopher to the corner. But let's see if he manages to hold on through the position. We see Jakes taking the first line, goes a little bit wide there, but we still manages to keep on that first position. Followed closely by Christopher. Gavin get a good start there. He's in 3rd position, followed by Lendl and Boris right behind him, 5th at the moment, applying the pressure. And looks like everybody's managed to get through the first corner relatively unscathed. In shot at the moment we have Vaughan. So up in front we have Jakes, slightly followed very closely by Christopher. Christopher applying that pressure, and these guys have got plenty of experience racing against each other, former teammates, but now in different teams this season, and definitely fighting for that podium position, that front pole position this evening. In 3rd position we still have Gavin, and followed closely by Lendl. Morris, who had a fortunate qualification, he's applying pressure now to Lendl, trying to get past those the Ferrari of Lendl. And Lendl actually keeping him quite honest and trying to get past Gavin at the moment. So a good battle, a good race here from all the top drivers at the moment. Then we see Christopher make a mistake. It looks like he's dropped down a bit. That's allowed for the rest of the field to come past. So not sure exactly what happened there, but I'm also seeing that Jakes has dropped down. So it looks like those two might have come together, and that's put them right in the middle of the pack now, with Jake's getting past, getting to 6th position, but still trying to find Christopher. Christopher is in 4th position at the moment, so out in front is Gavin, who probably wasn't expected to be leading the race so early in this session, and he's out in front with a nice 1 second gap lead from Marius, who's now moved up into 2nd position. So all sorts of changes happening very early in the race, and it's most likely contributed to this rain that we're seeing this evening. So there's Lindell now, who's got Christopher right behind him. Christopher's got his lights up, letting him know that he's making his intention very clear that he wants to come past. He wants to get back to the front of this pack before they start edging away and start creating a gap. And just behind Christopher, we have Brent. Oh, there goes Christopher on the inside, managed to get past Lindell. Lindell leaving the gap open, and that's allowed for Christopher gets through, and side by side as they're going down the main straight, so who will outbrake who? And looks like Christopher managed to getting the better braking done there and getting the job done. Still not over. Lindell still trying to get past on the inside, but unfortunately not able to carry that speed. And looks like it's a job well done by Christopher, getting up now into 3rd position. Now he's got his work cut off him, making another little mistake, and Lindell still fighting back, trying to get that 3rd position. And it looks like, from what I'm seeing now, that Christopher has picked up a time penalty of some sort. I'm just going to have a look at the timings. And he's picked up a 2-second penalty there. So I'm not sure what that was from, but it could quite possibly be from that incident with Jakes early on. Jakes now moving himself up into 5th position, getting past Brandon. So he'll be now chasing the back of Lindell. And still an epic race here, ladies and gentlemen. Only 3 laps in, and already we've seen quite a bit of change in the field so far. So we move back to the front, and still Gavin with that lead over Marius, and making life not so easy for the drivers behind him. I guess it is easier when you're not having to follow another car in the spray, and but you can see how quickly Marius gets to the back of him on that first corner. So Marius managing to find a great braking point, and now right on the back, and looking on the inside of Gavin. Will he go for it? Ooh, they come together, they touched Marius and Gavin. It was Gavin who was on the inside, Marius on the outside, and Gavin unfortunately losing out there as he drops down right to 5th position. Marius not getting past, and look, unfortunate argy-bargy there, but some would say rubbing his racing. So Marius now up into the lead, and right behind him we have Christopher in that Ferrari that seems to be managing to take those corners pretty well. So the Ferraris are looking pretty strong this evening as opposed to the Camaros. So now that gap between Marius and Christopher now dropping to half a second. And you can just see the water now starting to accumulate on the track, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting for the drivers. Especially when they're trying to get that power down in those tight corners. It's not going to be easy with that big V8 from the Camaro and the V12 of the Ferrari. The the background, I can see now Jakes has managed to move himself up into third position. And a good recovery there from Gav. Dropped down to fifth after that little incident with Marius. And he looks like he's managed to find his rhythm again. Further down the field, we have Lendable, who's having a good battle with Brandon as well. In 7th position, we have Steven, who seems to be just driving on his own at the moment. Not much going on for him, so pretty much in his own little race at the moment. Right behind him is, well, I say right behind him, but a couple of seconds down the road is Vaughan, followed by Durkee. Durkee, unfortunately, not having the greatest of races. We normally see him up to the top of the pack, and he finds himself lying in 10th position at the moment. I wonder if he's perhaps picked up a bit of damage, and he's just battling with the vehicle at the moment, trying to keep it in a straight line. You can see a bit of damage on the front there, so definitely would be struggling, I would imagine. In 11th position we have Tyler, and followed behind him is Adrian in 12th. Back to the front, and still that gap between Marius and Christopher, half a second. Not much has changed between these two drivers, and both drivers giving all they can, and I would imagine the concentration levels must be quite high at the moment to keep these vehicles on the track, especially in these slippy conditions. Sideways there for Marius as he comes through the first corner into the second, but it looks like Christopher has better control in their Ferrari as opposed to Marius in the Camaro. Different lines that the drivers are taking. You can see how Marius throws the car into the corner, trying to slide the front end in, as you can see that Christopher seems to have a little bit more stability with the Ferrari. As we drop down to 4th position, ooh, there we see Jakes getting it sideways and spinning it right around. So an unfortunate mistake there by Jakes, and it just shows you these tricky conditions, how easily it is to lose the rear end of that vehicle. And then we see a very experienced Jakes making a mistake there, and that has cost him now a few positions. Now in 8th position, and the Horn Dog now right behind him. So we haven't really seen much of the Horn Dog this race, but in practice he was definitely up there with the front runners. So not sure what has happened with him during this race, but we'll stay tuned to him and make sure that we follow him a little bit later as this race progresses. So Jake's now on the back of Vaughan, getting a better exit on the last corner there, and drag race down to the first corner, and it looks like Jake's quite easily or comfortably managed to get past there. So up in front, this battle still carrying on between Marius and Christopher. Christopher trying to find his way past Marius, but Marius not making it easy in that Camaro. Christopher gets a bit sideways there, but that's the way he likes it. Sideways and flat out. So see the guys come through the chicane there. Now coming through the back section of this track into another sort of S's, I would say. And Christopher even closer than he was on the previous lap. And I can just imagine Marius was sweating, watching his mirrors, waiting for Christopher to pounce. get a bit of drive here. Christopher now tucking behind the Camaro, trying to get a bit of a slipstream, but getting just a face full of water. As you can see now that the track conditions are deteriorating and the puddles of water are starting to form. The lower lying areas of the track. Side by side through there, and Christopher going on the outside. Morris taking the defensive line, and that's going to slow them up a little bit. Christopher cutting back, looking for the inside line for the next corner, but not able to get the traction down. Morris goes defensive again. And guys, this is fantastic racing. This is exactly what we want to see. Side by side, action-packed racing from the best of the best. Still, Christopher not able to find a gap as they come through this interesting chicane. That gap still staying half a second, so still nothing between these two drivers. Just want to head back to 7th position. Jake's now fighting his way through the field, but he's got the Horn Dog applying pressure and trying to get past at the same time, so not making things easier for Jake's, and Jake's having a dreadful race. You can see the Ferrari of Steven just ahead of them. While these two are battling, there we see Jake's going wide, so getting the pressure from the Horn Dog and making another mistake and allowing the Horn Dog through. So the Horn Dog now chasing after Steven, and I'm just looking at those times, pretty much even. For that previous lap, actually half a second difference between Steven and the Horn Dog. Now Jake's will be pushing Andrew to encourage him to close that gap. Out in 9th and 10th at the moment, so Turkey's still struggling with that front end damage, but has now caught Vaughan, who also has had quite an entertaining race himself. And a good battle starting to size up here between these two drivers. See Durkee going through the chicane, a bit squiggly, battling to keep that car in a straight line. And definitely not a happy camper. So now the Horn Dog closing up on Steven in that Ferrari. Steven watching his mirrors and getting it slightly wide on that through the S's. Andrew looks on the inside, and I'm sure he'll be lining up for the straight. Gets a bit twitchy there. He's going to try get the slipstream behind Steven. Just a wall of water coming off those tires now and making it extremely difficult for the guys behind to see where they're going. Ooh, Steven goes a little bit wide, a much better line there by Andrew. And we'll see Andrew goes wide as trying to get a different line as opposed to Steven. Now Steven feeling the pressure, goes defensive, and will we see a move here from, looks like Jakes is now spotted an opportunity to go and pass the Horn Dog. So a good three-way battle here at the moment between Steven, the Horn Dog, and Jakes. I'm just looking out front, and it looks like we've lost a driver, and it looks like Marius has unfortunately disconnected from the session. So that is extremely bad luck for Marius, because we know he was leading out in front for the majority of the race, and there's only 2 minutes left on the clock, 2.5 minutes, sorry. And it looks like we've lost a couple of drivers, so that is most unfortunate. But Christopher getting the benefit of the luck there. He's now in first position, crosses the line to start his 11th lap. Second place is Lendl. So it looks like we've lost Morris and Gavin. And in third position is the other Ferrari of Brandon. So in fourth position is Stephen, followed very closely by the Horn Dog and Jakes. Whoa, you see Stephen there getting it slightly sideways there, but manages to catch the car, so good driving from him. But still getting the pressure from behind from the Horn Dog and Jakes. Those two Camaros not making life easy for Stephen. But we know Stephen is a very good driver. We saw him in the Santa Corsa where he was leading most of the Bravateer race. But yeah, this evening he's in the Alphateer with Project Card. Oh, there's Jakes again, losing the rear end of that Camaro in exactly the same place we saw him a bit earlier in the race. So we're down to our final minute, and I think we'll probably see one more lap here from Christopher as he comes through the final corner and starts his final lap. And this battle between Stephen, Andrew and Jake still raging on as we see the Horn Dog trying everything that he can think of to try and get past Stephen. Stephen driving textbook defensive style, defending those lines, trying to break the toe, going now on the inside, and one more lap to keep ahead of these two, and I don't think it's going to be an easy task. We see now that the Horn Dog has got the inside line, but Stephen manages to find the grip and still keeps that position ahead. Now the Horn Dog looking on the inside, diving in, but thinking about it twice, not wanting to make a mistake and not wanting to drive into the side of Stephen. So good clean racing from the Horn Dog there, but he's still going to fight, I would imagine, right to the end. As we see Christopher now coming through the final S's and then to the final last two corners. And strange race from him. He was battling Jakes in the first couple of laps and made the mistake and ended up in 5th position. Has now managed to move his way up and takes the first win of this evening. Lendl comes home in 2nd position. A good solid race for Lendl. In 3rd we have Brandon, but let's watch this battle as Stephen still manages to hold on for that position and crosses the line in 4th, followed closely by the Horn Dog, then Jakes in 7th position. A good recovery there, and not an easy drive there for Durkee, but he has managed to finish in 7th position. Horner coming over the line in 8th. And last but not least, Tyler in ninth. So guys, that was the Alpha Tiers at Oschersleben, a course this evening, coming virtually live from Germany. And there are the results. Win there by Christopher, followed by Lendl in second, third position Brandon, Steven in fourth, the Horn Dog fifth, Jake's in sixth, seventh is Durkee, in eighth position Vaughan, ninth Tyler, and in 10th Mr. Bond. So guys, big shout out to our sponsors for this evening's racing, Simstuff Racing. Catch Johan and his teammate in the Bravo tier a little bit later on this evening, showing us how it's done. And in case you're wondering where Dylan is this evening, he's unfortunately had to complete all his homework that his boss had given him. So he's unfortunately unable to make it this evening. So some messages coming through on Facebook. We've got Brandon DeSantos, go Andrew. But a good battle there by Andrew and Steven, not letting him pass. So we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up for the final Alpha tier race for this evening. And in case you guys were wondering or are unsure of the format, the top 6 drivers will do a reverse grid. So we are going to see some exciting racing still up ahead. Some messages now coming through on the YouTube channel. Good luck all by Peter Heidemann. Enjoy the rain in turn 1. Then Rafael, is it Tavares? Have a good race, guys. War Machine Morales. Let's go, Mr. Bond. Make it a good race. Make it a coconut of a race, sorry. So we are now back with the drivers on track, and because of the reverse grid, the drivers will just be driving around, getting into formation and position for the reverse grid. So we see there the Horn Dog getting a little nudge there by Lendl, and I'm hoping that Lendl hasn't picked up too much damage from that little incident. But of course so that could have been a bit of lag. So let's hope that both drivers are able to continue without any damages. So you can see Jake's now leading the pack. He finished in 6th position on the previous race, so that's putting him on pole for the second race, followed by the Horn Dog, Andrew, and Stephen in 3rd. Then we'll see Brandon in 4th. We should see Lendl in 5th, and then in 6th position will be Christopher. These guys looking mighty feisty for a warm-up lap. But I'm sure they're just trying to keep the temperature in those tyres. Gav in 12th position, doing really well in the first race, but unfortunately disconnecting and taking Morris with him. So both Gav and Morris starting at the back of the grid for the second race this evening. So the guys will be bunching up now before going on to the main straight to get this race going. As you can see Stephen there trying to keep his tyres warm. Yeah, they approach the line. 3, 2, 1. And where they go, and a little bit of a swirly start there for Lendl in the background, putting the power down, but not the Ferrari not responding well. But nevertheless, a good clean start so far. But as I say that, Jakes gets a bit sideways and loses out a little bit there to the Horn Dog. The Horn Dog getting past, now leading the race. So good start there by Andrew. Cameraman Tim being shaked around there from the velocity of these cars coming past at high speed. Andrew leading this pack with Jake's right behind him. In 3rd position, Stephen's still hanging on to that final podium position, followed by Brandon. Brandon now side by side with Christopher. Christopher going on the inside, and looks like he's going to make it stick. Manages to get past Brandon there, so good overtake maneuver there by Brandon. Sorry, by Christopher. Christopher got his side set on Stephen, but it looks like he's picked up a time penalty. And I'm just going to check what this penalty is. So my mistake, it was actually Lendl who picked up a 2-second penalty. And Christopher to have also picked up a bit of a penalty himself, and it's actually dropped down, so I'm not too sure what happened there. But Christopher now in 11th position. So making a huge mistake there, and that's dropped him right down to the back of the field with Morris. So the two leaders from the first race now finding themselves right at the back of the field. So still with 14 minutes left, I think we're going to see an epic battle of these two drivers trying to get back through. There goes Christopher now. And I think he's just trying maybe a little bit too hard. So Jake's now getting past the Horn Dog, and just picking up there that the Horn Dog had a slowdown penalty that he was given, so he did slow down, and that's why Jake's has managed to get past it, so that he didn't pick up any penalty. But it looks like even though he did slow down, he's still been handed that penalty, and for his good measures has now Steven on the back of him. So Jake's now leading out in front with a second gap. Behind is Andrew, followed by Steven, still in that third position, not allowing anybody to get past him, making that Ferrari as wide as possible. And a good, consistent racing here from Steven this evening. But out in front, Jake's managed to extend that gap now to just over 1 second. And he'll be pretty focused now on trying to win this race after that dismal first session where he only managed a 6th position. In 5th position we have Turkey, who's doing much better in this race. You can see that car looking in much better condition compared to the first. He gets a good sit. Looks like Stevens now made a mistake and dropped down the field. Now Brandon is up into 3rd position, and as I say, that Turkey manages to get past him. Goes a little bit wide. Let's hope he manages to keep that power down and make that pass stick. But an epic battle here for 3rd position. We have Turkey, Steven, Brandon, and Lendl, all fighting for that final podium position. But it just looks like that Camaro has that straight. Oh, there we get a touch there by Steven on Lendl, and it spins. Sorry, that was Gavin who got a bit of a nudge there, and that's spun him around. And unfortunately now dropped him back into 6th position behind Gav. See Gav, who's moved up the field quite nicely. He started right at the back of the field, and now he's in 6th. So a good drive from him so far, and one of the quickest guys on the circuit at the moment. But Durkee now catching Andrew, and you can see Andrew has spotted Durkee in the mirrors and knows that this man is on a mission. You can see he's getting sideways there, trying to recover from that first race where he picked up a bit of damage and struggled quite a bit in the rain. Now moving himself up into 3rd position in the 2nd race. Go to those penalties again. Jake's with a 2-second penalty, as well as the Horn Dog. So at the moment, Durkee is in 2nd position, followed by Steven with a 2-second penalty, Lendl with a 2-second penalty, Christopher with a 4-second penalty, Mr. Bond 2-second, and Brandon with 1. So all the drivers, the majority of the drivers this evening, picking up the track limits. Oh, there we see Andrew making a mistake, and that's now dropped him down to 3rd position, and that's just allowed Durkee now to open up those legs, see if we can maybe catch Jake's, those times between Jake's and Durkee pretty close at the moment. But 10 minutes left on the clock, pretty much halfway through this race. Let's see if he's got what it takes to catch. Remember that Jakes does have that 2-second penalty, so in theory, all that Turkey needs to do is try reel in Jakes within 2 seconds. So behind in 5th we have Stephen and Gavin and Stephen fighting it out for that 4th position. Gavin has moved up right from the back of the grid and now in 5th position, and it looks like he's really finding some good pace, and as I say that he gets side by side with Stephen, it makes it almost look easy. Oh, as he goes past and unfortunately gets tagged by Stephen, spinning him around, and that will unfortunately drop him back now to 7th position as Christopher now moves up into 6th. So it looked like he had almost made that position stick, and Stephen maybe not see him there and tagging just the back of Gavin, unfortunately dropping him back now into 7th position. But whoa, we see Mr. Hills there getting it very sideways. Gavin now getting himself back into 6th position. And we have Christopher, the man on a mission, trying to close that gap to the guys ahead. So I'm just looking at the times there, and it's looks like Turkey slowed down a little bit, so I'm not sure what exactly happened on that lap, but it's allowed for Andrew to close that gap again, and he's not allowing Turkey to get away, that's for sure. But still out in front we have Jakes with a commanding 6-second lead now over Turkey, and probably will be thinking to himself, let's just nurse the tires and maintain that gap. So I see now that Morris has left the session, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. That's not able to finish both races. First position we still have Jakes. What about Turkey, and a good battle starting to happen between these two drivers, Team Turkey and the Horn Dog. Stephen in 4th position after making that little mistake earlier in the race, but recovering well, keeping that 4th position. But I can just see Christopher in the background slowly reeling in Stephen. I'm sure we're going to see a good battle with 5 minutes left on the clock. There's Stephen making a mistake, and Christopher getting a bit sideways too. You can see these guys now battling for grip in the final stage. The times have now dropped down quite a bit. So will we see that gap close up even further? Remember that Christopher does have that 4-second gap, so in order for him to get that 4th position, he'll have to overtake Stephen, plus add another 2 seconds gap on that. Out in 8th position we have Lindell, who's picked up a bit of damage, we can see there from his bonnet, and he has Gavin right behind him, sideways there as he comes through the chicane here. Great back between these two. So Gavin starting right at the back of the grid, moving himself up right into 4th position, and then getting tagged by Steven, and he's now dropped right to 9th position. I guess the frustration just getting the better of him, and it never helps when you are frustrated in this game. Out in front, still with a commanding lead of 6 seconds over Durkee, we have Jakes. Pretty much nobody around him, just needs to bring it home. 3.5 minutes left on the clock, and still putting in those quick times. Last lap of 139.3. So Jakes in very comfortable position at the moment. In 2nd position, Durkee, I think he's going to settle for that, and we see now that Andrew has dropped off the pace a bit and has dropped off behind, so perhaps making a little mistake there somewhere in the race, and he's dropped now within 6 seconds behind Durkee. So looks like Christopher has managed to get past Stephen, and now needs to try open up that gap to secure that 4th position with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. He needs to, well, looks like he might comfortably manage to open that 2-second gap. That will see him finish in 4th position if he does manage to do that. In 6th position we have Tyler, having a much better race compared to the last, moving from 9th position to 6th. So there we see Stephen making a mistake again. So Stephen trying really hard to catch Christopher, but unfortunately has now lost that 2-second gap, and ultimately lost that 4th position. So a last lap here for Jakes, with just a minute now left on the clock. I guess we'll see him do another lap because he's coming around the last corner and heading down the straight. So still a bit of time left on the clock. This will be his last lap. You can see in the background that gap between himself and Durkee, now sitting at 7 seconds. So but yet Durkee managed to get in the quickest time on that previous lap, but I mean those times are really close. And look at Andrew in the background, man oh man, those guys still pushing right to the end. It's really good to see, even though those guys are further back, they're not giving up and wanting to finish this race on a high. In 4th position, Christopher still managing to open that gap, but that gap has seemed to come down between himself and Steven. So I wonder if Christopher made a mistake and allowed now for Steven to catch up. But guys are on the final lap. If Christopher makes another mistake, he could possibly lose that fourth position to Stephen. That time hovering around the 2-second mark, very close. And we know that both Stephen and Christopher have that time penalty. But look at that, Christopher with a 4-second. And I see now that Stephen has a 3 seconds, so that would definitely mean that that Christopher has secured that fourth position. There we have Jakes now finishing, really crossing the line, getting that first position, followed by Durkee, the Horn Dog, finishing in third. And yeah, we see Christopher manage to come back from that earlier race incidences to take that fourth position, followed by Stephen in fifth and Gavin in sixth, closely followed by Tyler. Lendl crosses the line in 8th position, followed by Brandon. In 10th position we have Bourne, and Mr. Bond finishing out in 11th. So right guys, there you have the final results. A great Alpha Tier race this evening at Oschersleben. And guys, stay tuned. We still have the Bravo Tier guys upcoming up next with a 5-minute qualifying and 2 20-minute races, as well as that reverse grid in the final race. So we're just waiting for all the drivers to join us in the live stream chat. Jax, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, how's it, Ash? How's it, Jake?
Can you guys hear me?
Chris, how's it, bud?
Flat out yourself.
Yeah, lekker man, lekker.
Well done there, bud. Well done tonight. I think you got the overall win.
No ways, never.
No, you did. Christopher.
What did you? Oh, okay.
Okay, starting with you, Andrew.
Hello, Ash.
I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna come in again. I can't. Everybody's frozen.
That's never good.
Yeah, sorry guys, there's a lot of feedback in the Discord this evening. I'm not too sure what it's caused by, but Andrew, if you could chat us through your race, an interesting race this evening. You had a good pass there with Jakes and with Durkee. If you could just let us know your thoughts.
I don't know about a good dice. I think you could call it more trying like hell to hang on to them. But yeah, if you want to call it a dice, I'll take it. Yeah, I must say that was hugely tricky in the wet. That Camaro is just a handful. And you go from oversteer in the wet to understeer in the dry. It was just, I don't know what to tell you. That was, I can't say the most fun I've ever had. But yeah, at least you got through it. And well done to Jakes. Chris, unbelievable in that Ferrari in the wet. And yeah, no, good fun with Durkee as well.
Guys, we are picking up so much echo and feedback that unfortunately it's not making it difficult. It's making it really difficult for the guys to actually hear what they're saying. But if you can hear us, Jakes, can you talk us through your two races and not having a very good first race, but managed to pull back in the second?
Yes, as everybody knows by this time, I am not a good rain racer. I can't handle a car in the wet. I'm like VW. We don't like to drive in the rain. Yeah, and luckily, I put myself with a dice with Andrew and Steve, and I was Pete and Steve, and I saw I was 6 at that stage, so I thought, no, I'm not going to dice these two oaks. Let me stay in 6 and start the second race in first. That was much better.
Excellent.
That gives me a much better
Sneaky.
chance to. Yeah, I have to think a bit. That's why this grey is coming from. But that second race was a bit easier. Prefer the dry race. I had to just keep in front. I let a few little mistakes, but it wasn't anything to worry about. I just had to keep it on the road, and I saw everybody picked up about 2 seconds penalty, and except for Durkee, and I saw Durkee coming through the pack there with a big pace, and I just thought, well, I'm 2 seconds. I've got a 2 seconds penalty. I just have to keep it 2 seconds ahead of him, and I managed at the end of the day to keep it about 7 seconds ahead of him. And yeah, it was quite an easy race for me. Much better than the first one. And yeah, it's a pity about Marius that that got disconnected, because that made his chance of doing something in the championship. It did him a lot of harm there. So his chance of taking the championship is gone now because of that DC, and he did exceptionally well in that first race. I mean, yeah, Christopher, you can catch him there, and he had a big gap there. But yeah, unfortunately for Marius, man, yes, bad luck to him. But yeah, both you guys here, you race very well, guys. Christopher, flat out, buddy.
Flat out. Thanks, bud.
And then over to you, Christopher. A very interesting 2 races for you. We saw you. We're not too sure what happened between you and Jakes on the first couple of corners. Sorry, Jakes did mention something about it, but maybe you could just put your point of view, and then just tell us what happened in the second race.
Actually, first race was it was very tricky in the wet conditions. I think it was the last corner on the first lap. We were side by side. And going in, it snatched the brakes on the front, and in the Ferrari, letting the brakes go, it just oversteers. So with Jakes next to me, I couldn't let the brakes go. Unfortunately, we touched, and I tried to wait up for him. And then he said to me in the chat, I must go. I mustn't worry about waiting for him. So once I had backed off after a while, I decided to carry on going. it's not obviously anyone's intentions to bump anyone in racing, but in those conditions it was extremely difficult, and yeah, it happened. It wasn't a big accident or a big touch. It was very, very small, but in these conditions it's really easy to lose control of the car. So that's probably what happened. But yeah, then I tried to fight back. I was quicker than Marius in some parts of the track, but I just couldn't use it to my ability because I would, if I tried to carry the momentum, his car was in the way. So I just had to monitor the speed as much as I could and try and find a way past him. But he was just too quick on the back straight, and then onto the main straight, he was just too quick as well. And I just couldn't get close enough to get past him through any of the corners. So really disappointing for him to have that disconnection, because he would have definitely won the first race, unless he had made a mistake. And then the second race, it was pretty much my own fault. I was pushing too hard to try and catch Jake's up in front. I knew that the Ferrari in the draw was nowhere near as quick as what the Camaro is going to be. So I had to push as hard as possible, and lost the rear. I think it was second last corner or last corner. I'm not too sure. But lost the rear, and then just had to try and fight my way back through the field. But yeah, well done to Jakes, well done to Andrew, well done to the guys for a great start of the race. Clean first corner, which was really, really good, especially in the wet. So yeah, well done, guys.
Absolutely,
buddy.
well done,
Yeah,
guys,
thanks, Chris, well
and
done.
thanks for making it exciting for me to commentate. It was absolutely amazing to watch and to commentate on it at the same time. Guys, please stay tuned. We do have the Braveteers coming up next, and we are just waiting for the guys just to join the lobby and sort out their connection issues, and we should be up and running within the next couple of minutes. So please stay tuned. We will be starting shortly. Thanks, guys. Thanks, drivers.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
cheers,
everybody.
Cheers,
Well done.
thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
So there you have it from the drivers, just sharing the experiences that they had this evening. And I see that we have got the thumbs up, and it looks like we are about to start the qualifying for the Braveteer at the Oschersleben A course in Germany. So just a shout out to our sponsor for this vintage touring car season, Simstuff Racing. Guys, if you want to find out a little bit more, please contact Johan. You'll see all the details in our description below on the Facebook and on the YouTube site. They have some really cool Simstuff Racing gear that they are trying to promote at the moment. A nice button box which connects to the Project Cars interface, so you can change your wipers. You can maybe add a button for your brake bias or something cool that will assist you during the race. We also have a mag shift which fits onto the G29 steering wheel, and that allows for epic and smooth changes on your G29 wheel. So we see the drivers now going out and track a wet track, and there we see Ross getting it a bit sideways. Out in front, Robert seems to have jumped everybody and managed to get out ahead of. As I say that, cameraman Tim proves me wrong. So guys, I did manage to figure out what that issue was coming through my headset, and it was in fact me hearing myself through the YouTube and Facebook, which I've now rectified. Yes, I can. Excellent, and I've just had the thumbs up from our race director. and community leader Dylan.
Good
will be
evening,
joining me
everybody.
in the commentary box. Thank goodness.
So it does look like there was lots and lots of amazing racing action in the Alpha tier. Just lots of stuff that I needed to get sorted. But it does look like I've got to the point of no return, so no more for me to do now this evening. So welcome everybody. I know we're a little bit late, but it is really awesome to come and see. And I must say that it is actually so interesting to see the guys driving the different conditions and how well those Ferraris handle in the wet compared to those Camaros.
Absolutely, we saw. Looks like Christopher had a lot more pace in that Ferrari, but unfortunately making that mistake early on, and but still managed to recover. And we can see now on track. We don't know. Maybe it'll be a little bit different in the Bravo tiers. We've seen a bit of a change up between the Alpha and the Bravo. A little bit different driving styles compared to what we saw the first couple of races this evening.
So
But,
I did see that as the guys were starting to get going, that JohannVdV was in the lobby going in and out, but I'm not seeing him in the lineup this evening. Was he having connection issues by any chance?
I believe there was some connection issues that some of the guys were experiencing, so that may be why he's not in this lobby. But I'm sure he'll be restarting everything, resetting everything, and be joining us in the second race. So a time there by Louis, the only person. Ooh, then Ross actually sets a time now, so time's starting to come in. And so far, Louis in front with a time of a 1:41.9, followed by Robert off second. Ooh, then we see two guys coming together, and that looked like Sly Pete who got it all wrong there, and that has unfortunately ruined their qualifying session for this evening. I doubt we'll see any of those drivers taking part with only 40 seconds left in the clock.
So Robert was actually fortunate is that he had already done a 1:42.6, so he was already in second place there. Louis, who is out in front, Ross is in third, and it does look like we've lost two more drivers, possibly due to a disconnection.
Yeah, I wonder if these guys are maybe just thinking to restart this session. But ultimately, it will have to be their decision.
Sure, Ross is very, very aggressive with that Camaro in these wet conditions.
Yeah, getting it sideways there, not keeping it in a straight line there. It almost looks like he's using a controller to drive that vehicle this evening. But crosses the line now and doesn't look like he's able to improve that time, so stays in third position. So a sigh of relief there for Robert.
So there was Dane and Donovan both disconnecting.
So I'm just going to actually take a sneak.
So maybe just go into the chat party and see whether they take away the qualifying. We hold the current positions, but just get the other two and do a rolling start. Because ultimately is that for us to have lost two drivers so early on in the race, it's definitely not what's happening. And even Ryan saying, unfortunately, some clashing issues with the number of guys in lobby, so he won't be able to race this evening. So that is not cool to see. Ryan did mention earlier on that he was having some issues with that connection, and that's just that confirmation once again. So see that they are starting to exit out of the lobby. So I'm pretty sure that they will be restarting. What we can do is just drop this in there. So we're just checking on our Discord. Jacques is going to be sending out those new invites. It does seem like we don't really have the issues when Jacques does it. So we'll just see how that goes. But now the guys will just disconnect. So while we are waiting for the lobby to be restarted, let's just have a quick sneak peek from our sponsor. So guys, if you do want to find out more, you are able to check out the description below. We do have all the details, so you are able to get hold of Johan at Simstuff Racing. We see that those invites are coming in fast and furiously as the guys will get racing once again. Ashley, just checking that you are back with us.
Dylan, I totally forgot that I had my mic on mute. My apologies. I have received now the invite from Jock, so should be joining soon.
So did they decide to redo the qualifying, or are they going to use the current positions as they qualified?
I haven't been able to chat to them because of, obviously I was a race director, so I'm going to chat to them now and get them into a chat party as well.
All right, perfect.
Unfortunately, the players cannot hear me.
Okay, so they might go straight into a full restart and qualifying. So actually it does look like that they are in the actual chat party itself. I mean the game chat.
invited to that, so not a problem. We'll just see what they decide. I see Johan has managed to join the session, so that must be a relief for him. But I see, having said that, he has disconnected again, so definitely having some PSN issues this evening.
So guys, we do have them lining up in the background. We will be starting in approximately 2 minutes or so. So do stand by, but use this opportunity to quickly run, get yourself something to drink, a little bit of biltong, and come and enjoy this close mixed weather racing action here at Oschersleben A in our vintage touring cars. Okay, so it does look like they were just waiting for Donovan to try come back in. So he has left and is joining, and it does look like they are ready to go.
So guys, we're just getting some messages coming through on the YouTube channel from Mornay Galloway. Good luck to all. Go JohannVdV and Simstuff Racing. And then Adrian Bond, have an awesome race. Go Simstuff Racing. And Jared Whitfield, Yahoo, shout out to JohannVdV and Simstuff Racing. So a lot of support there coming for Simstuff Racing. Also another shout out from Andrew Bond, go Ralph Silverback, followed by a couple of beers and the checkered flags.
Our
Another
emoji award winning
Yeah.
driver and supporter. Thank you, Mr. Bond. Okay, so it does look like we will be going back into a qualifying round. So I must say, this is definitely one of my favorite tracks. There's just something about it that I really, really enjoy. It is so technical. It has such a nice flow to it. What we're picking up, this is through turn number 2. This is the hotel. Maybe just drive on board with Donovan there, Ashley, and we can just take everybody for a tour. So now we go into turn number 4, which then has a double apex, so it's turn 4 and 5. Then we approach flat out towards the triple, so you're going into turn 6, turn 7, then turn 8, then hard on the brakes into turn number 9, and then you are turning to the right. And this is where you got to make sure that you keep the throttle nice and consistent. Exit out of turn 10. Then into the chicane through 11, 12, nice and tight on the inside, but don't take too much of that curb through turn number 13. Then along the back straight towards turn number 14, and once again we did see how the guys in the Alpha 2 were flicking the cars through here, but nice and controlled, turn in to the right, then again to the left. Then this turn number 16 is a little bit deceiving. You can actually carry a lot of speed through there if you get it right, but if you go wide, you do get a crazy time penalty. Then through turn number 17, it's a corner that just seems to be ever continuing. but you get a good drive out of there, and that sets you up for the main straight as we cross that start finish line.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Dylan. This track is also one of my favorites, but not in these cars, because these cars are an absolute handful to drive, especially in the wet. Especially that Camaro. I took it around the circuit a little bit earlier on. You got to keep flicking that rear end in order for you to turn that big hunk of metal around the corners. But the Ferraris seem to be managing a lot better, I think, in the wet compared to the Camaros this evening.
Oh, definitely was getting the traction down, and Christopher was carrying a lot more speed through that section. But then there was a point where we had Brandon, Christopher and Lendl, all three of them in the Ferraris, and they were doing extremely well in the mid-pack. So we know that the Ferraris do have the pace here. It's just about how they use these wet conditions to their advantage, because we could see the speed differential once we get into the dry conditions once again.
Oh, absolutely. So we're still waiting for these drivers to cross the line. Nobody has posted a time yet, but very soon we'll see as Don starts to complete his lap, followed closely by Sly Pete. And behind these guys looks like that's Louis in third position. So there, Brandon, sure, those changed so quickly. So at the moment, Rockstar Mel in first position with a time of a 140.8, followed by Rudy in second position there with a 140.8 as well. So almost 3/1000ths of the second, or 300th of a second between those two top drivers. So very close at the moment, as well as Brandon, who's just a 10th off the pace.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely crazy to watch these three out in front. And then Pete, the fastest of the Ferraris, so 2.6 seconds off the three out in front, as we see one of the Ferraris going into the dirt on the outside, into that transition of from the triple into turn number 9. And I just love that angle. It's definitely one of my favorite angles for a cameraman as well. You can just see how the car twitches from left to right, how the suspension works, and find that grip as you exit out.
So I see that Rudy and Brandon immediately went into the pits after posting those times. So quite confident at the moment that they are going to hold on to those positions. But we're just waiting for Rockstar Bell to complete his final lap here in qualifying and see if he can actually go faster and improve that time. And he crosses the line, and nope, looks like he stays, doesn't make any improvements, and stays, holds on to that pole position.
So there's the starting lineup for the first heat for the Bravo tier. So Rockstar Mel, he's in first. Then it is Rudy, Brandon, Louis, Ross, Pete, Terry, Donovan. Then it is Dane, Raf, and then Robert.
So again, poor Johan has disconnected. So definitely having some sort of internet issues out there in George this evening. So we're going to wait for the drivers just to get ready and sync up, and this race will be underway.
I just hope that our Bravo tier was able to take a little bit of the Alpha tier's book and nice and cautious into turn number 1. Taking it nice and easy. But let's see. So it is a lights out, and we are racing here at Oschersleben A, and Ross has got a great start, but a little bit of a tank stopper there, so he had to just control it. But Brandon's up into second place, so he's side by side with Rudy as the guys already start braking, going into a 90-degree turn number 1. It is absolutely crazy whoever designed that and thought that that was a good idea. That looked like Terry getting a little bit wide, and that is Ross and Rudy as they start dropping down the order, which has released Rockstar Mel out in front with Brandon and Louis in the 3rd place. Then Pete is into 4th with Donovan 5th. Then Raf is in 6th place. Robert, Dane, Rudy, Ross, and then Terry. And
so a messy start there in the beginning from a couple of the drivers, but Maljark avoiding all the, Rockstar Mal avoiding all the contacts and managed to really pull out a second and a half gap from Brandon DeSantos in 2nd position at the moment. And follow closely we have Louis, who's actually doing really well and really improved over the last couple of races in this privateer.
Yeah, what I was going to mention earlier is Ross has said that this has probably been his worst season with SARCO, and Ross was one of the guys that was with us from the inception, and you can just imagine how bad that is. Ross just hasn't had a break. He has been overdriving the car, finds himself in really good positions early on, and then lands up bidding it. So I'm sure Ross will be very happy that there is only one more race left of this season before we close off, as Brandon gets very, very sideways, loses his momentum going into turn number 1 and just about squeezes Louis. But Louis did see that that door was closing very quickly, so just eased off the pace a bit there.
No, absolutely. Good racing and giving each other enough room there, not driving to the side of each other. So in all, good racing from those two drivers. I just going down back to the pack now, and I see Dane, and looks like is it Rolf?
That's Raf.
Raf, sorry, my apologies, Raf. So Raf and Dane there having a good battle in the mid pack of this this privateer. Looks like he goes a little bit wide there.
And I see Don is the first of the drivers to get a time penalty. And in the background there comes Rudy in that Camaro, starting to close up on the back of Raf in a 7th, 8th, the back of Dane in 8th place.
Yeah, that's looks like Don. Oh, he goes a bit wide there.
That's Robert.
Scenic route. Yeah, so Robert. Oh, apologies, that's Robert now going a little bit wide there. And he was having a good battle here with Donovan, but with that small mistake that set him back a little bit and cost him a bit of time. But nevertheless, still in 6th position at the moment. Don in 5th position. In front of him, Sly Pitt, who's managed to hold on to their 4th position. And that looks like Terry having an absolute nightmare of a race, getting lapped there by the front runners, and now starting to be lapped by the mid pack.
Is that not Brandon? Because if you look at the positions, there's Terry on his own, right. So it is Brandon.
Apologies. I'm getting confused between the two. So that was Brandon who has dropped down now to 3rd position.
No, Brandon's down into 6th. So whatever happened there is that he wasn't able to recover. So we now have a Rockstar Mel in 1st, Louis in 2nd, then it is Pete, Donovan, Robert, then Brandon. So Brandon making a proper mess of that, whatever had happened there. So he's going to have to buckle down and start regrouping. Still 15 minutes left of this race, so he is able to get himself a couple of places. He's just got to not overdrive the car. But it does look like he is going a little bit slower than is expected.
So all sorts of action happening in this Bravo race this evening. And my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm getting it all wrong. but it has been quite a long session for me as well. Not used to taking the reins of and Dylan's seat, so I do apologize if I start making a couple of mistakes. But yeah, we have Rockstar Mel leading with a 3-second gap at the moment over his competitor Louis, as we saw Brandon dropping back down into the midfield. He has now moved himself back into 5th position and seems to be recovering from that little incident.
So even though we saw Robert going off, and that was through the left and right of 14 and 15, is that Robert's up into 3rd place, so he actually is doing well, and that mistake didn't really cost him. So he is on the podium currently, and I'm sure that he'll be wanting to bring this car home.
Yeah, I wonder if Don got caught out by Brandon's off or spin, or whatever it was. And I see that because he's now dropped down to 7th position. He was ahead of Robert earlier in the race. But yeah, we see Sly Pete now still in 4th position. And that gap between him and Brandon still the same. Not much change there.
So I must say that this championship in the Bravo tier is very, very close. 13 points is all that separates Rockstar Mal and Rudy. So Rudy down in 9th place. This is not what he would have wanted to see. Then 29 points behind Rudy is Robert, and Pete, who's currently in 4th place, is 26 points, who's followed closely, only 8 points between Sly Pete and Brandon for that 5th position. So I'm pretty sure that Rudy is going to want to get as many points as he possibly can, because at this current rate, if we look at where Robert is, he could possibly score himself 21 points. With where Rudy is down in 9th, he will only score 8, which means that that gap between Robert and Rudy, he will be able to recover a total of 12 points, which definitely is going to make that last race very, very close, understanding that we do have 60 points up for grabs every evening.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just looking at those times in the previous lap that really did, it was pretty close to the front runners, but I see now he's dropped down again. So not having the best of races, maybe perhaps battling a bit in the wet conditions. We did seem have that spin on the first lap, and that's the reason why he's so far down the order at the moment.
And Donovan has a lot of pressure with our Scottish international putting that Camaro right up behind him, but Donovan goes a bit wide. Ross follows him, and that allows Rudy to move up into 7th place, and Donovan now down into 9th. And I think that's just a classic mirror watching, and was not checking his brake points, and he'll end up going off.
Yeah, and we saw that Ross followed him into the dirt as well, so both drivers getting caught out there. But nice to see Rudy taking advantage of that situation, and a bit of luck coming his way.
So Brandon Dos Santos is chasing down Pete, and you can just see that spray. And I think that's what happened with Ross, is that because you have the spray in your face, wasn't able to see that braking point. And unfortunately, Ross following off, but he was able to recover and end up getting a place for it.
Sure, you can see how difficult it is for the drivers to keep the car in a straight line. You can see how Pete is fighting with that vehicle, with that Ferrari, trying to get the power down, but almost impossible. The current conditions, and you can see those puddles starting to form on the track now, and that just makes it even more tricky. So you just hit one of those puddles and the car aquaplanes.
I wonder whether Brandon will be able to go around the outside of Peter. No, he decides to rather take the inside line, and that is through turn number 16. But now if he gets a good drive out of the last corner, as Pete goes very sideways and Brandon just comes off the throttle, not hitting his fellow Rough Rider stable driver. So currently Rockstar Mal is the fastest driver on the track at this stage with a 146.9, and as the rain comes down and as those puddles start forming, these times are going to get slower and slower.
Absolutely, we saw that from the Alpha tier. The guys battled towards the end of the race. Still 8.5 minutes left for this privateer first race, and a comfortable lead Rockstar Mal has got, almost 9.5 seconds over his closest competitor, which is Louis in second.
Oh, that's Brandon. I think that's Brandon off.
Absolutely, and he's gone wide there and ended up in the sand pit, but luckily he managed to recover and get back on the track again. Fortunately, these vehicles are not like Formula Ones where they get bogged down in the sand. Or, with that clearance, I mean, that could be classed as SUV in this this day and age.
I suppose you're right. So looking at the current positions, Rockstar Mal, he's in first with Louis second, then it is Robert Stolz in third, Peter Hardeman in fourth place with Dane, look at that, up into fifth place. Rudy's making his way through the field, he's in sixth, Brandon now dropping down in seventh, Donovan is in eighth, Ross down in ninth place, Terry he's in 10th, and Raf down in 11th position.
So Rudy now closing on the back of Dane, and just you saying well Dane is doing, you can see now Rudy applying the pressure, and on that last lap one of the quickest guys there with a 146.7, a full 3 seconds quicker than his competitor just ahead of him.
Listen, we understand that catching somebody is one thing, overtaking is a complete different story.
We saw Steven in the privateer, so the Alpha tier race, keeping both the Horn Dog and Jake's behind him for those last couple of minutes of the race, and he made that Ferrari as wide as possible.
And it is quite tricky to overtake here. You've only really got like 2 or 3 places that you can do it, and that is definitely into the start-finish line. So coming out of this exit here, if you get a really good exit, you're able to put it on the inside, and as Rudy's doing now, and prep yourself into turn number 14, but then put you on the outside for 15. So as long as you hold your line, and both drivers are safely through your...
There.
So
And,
Rudy,
a good clean overtake there, but Rudy goes slightly off track there, but
that puts Rudy up into 5th place.
yeah. But I think Dane also got a bit out of shape there, and it's dropped him down a bit, losing a bit of time on that overtake maneuver there of Rudy. Rudy now into 5th position, and now with these eyes set on Sly Pete, who's just up ahead.
So it does look like Louis dropped down to 3rd place. He was in 2nd, Robert was in 3rd, but now those positions have changed, and Pete is right up behind him. If we can just jump to there's Pete there. I was just thinking that we've missed a car here. But it
Yeah,
does look
Louis-
like Louis has made a mistake, and now he's going to have to contend with Pete in the Ferrari. Pete in a 4th position.
Yeah, and I see that Louis also has a time penalty, so just to make things even worse. But not too bad, only a 1 second time penalty.
As well as that 1 second time penalty for Don. So all Pete needs to do is start getting a little bit closer to the back of Louis. So he has to stay within that 1 second. We can see that gap now is just about, it was half, just 6.6 of a second. 4 minutes left, so we should get 3 laps in. Can see how wide Pete went, and almost looked like he took a bit of a wet racing karting line there, going very late, finding the grip on the outside, allowing the car to rotate, and then getting that power on, which then essentially just closed up that apex.
Seen Dane's dropped even further down the field to 7th. Now Brandon Santos getting a pass him into that 6th position, and I'm sure you'll actually be happy with that because that'll put him on pole position for the next race, and we know that race is in the draw, so you should have a really good advantage for the next session. So back to this action with Sly Pete and Louis. Sly Pete catching Louis, but as we mentioned earlier, it's one thing to catch, another to pass. And with 2.5 minutes left on the clock, it's not going to be an easy feed for Sly Pete.
It's not going to be an easy feed for Pete, but he's got Rudy behind him. So
Yeah.
here comes Rudy. Rudy won a 47.1, so he is going a 1.5 seconds quicker than Pete in front of him. And I'm pretty sure that both Pete and Louis are going to start watching that mirror, seeing a very, very racy Rudy coming up from behind. Going to jump on board as he now exits that turn number 16 into turn number 17. And now down the start-finish line. And I'm pretty sure that Louis is feeling that pressure. He knows that he's got that 1 second penalty that he's got to give Pete. And Rudy is going to say, gentlemen, you guys keep fighting, but I want to get myself into 3rd place to close up that gap that he is trying to get himself, trying to close that gap between himself and Robert.
So Rudy even closer now onto the back of Sly Pete, and you can see Pete realizes that he's under pressure now, and that he has to start trying to find a way past Louis to make sure that oh, and then we see he gets this tank slapper, and
Whoa.
unfortunately goes off there.
And Rudy did see him coming. He did manage to hit the brakes in time. You could see the nose of Rudy's car drop, and
Wow.
allowed
That was close.
Pete to spin out in front of him. Talking about spin out in front of him, this afternoon on my way to a supplier, I saw a guy coming up behind me. Didn't quite see that I was slowing down. Hit his brakes, locked up, and landed up doing a couple of donuts in the middle of the highway. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Jeez. Well, I'm glad he managed to avoid you there. Oh, there you see somebody going off there, and that was
That is Louis. Oh, now I'm talking about spinning, and there goes Louis. Sorry, Louis. My apologies.
So a good recovery here from Rudy, managing to come from all the way at the back of the field, now in 3rd position. So that would set him up pretty nicely for the next race as well.
So guys, we are on the last lap here of the first heat of the Bravo tier. We have had the 2 Alpha tier races earlier on, and Louis fighting hard here with Pete, and these guys now are fighting for 4th and 5th. As
Ooh, he
that
goes
is
into
Pete
the puddle.
into the puddle. There you can see the puddle on the inside there of the corner, and there goes Brandon. Will he try and go around the outside? So Pete's going to have his fellow stablemate driver right behind him as he goes very, very wide in the karting line, which gets Brandon. He holds that inside line. But now it looks like Brandon might be out of position on the track, but he does squeeze to the outside just to change that angle for the triple here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pete making those mistakes and dropping himself back into 6th position now. And just showing how tricky those conditions are out there. Those times dropping way down. It's only really Robert that's actually putting in the good time still. So as I say, that Rockstar Male crosses the line and takes that win for this evening in the first, followed by Robert in 2nd, then Rudy, a well-deserved 3rd position as he fought his way through the field, finishing on the podium. In 4th position, Louis with a pretty good drive himself, and Brandon, a good recovery from him as well, finishing 5th. And Sly Pete coming in 6th, but not all lost there. He will start in pole position for the next race. 7th position goes to Dane, followed by our Scottish international Ross, who's been having a torrent evening in that Chev Camaro in the wet. In 9th position, my apologies, is Don, followed by Mr. Terry Wilford himself, and in 11th position, Raf.
So I have just capturing those results, just so that we're able to find out who our top 3 are for the overall for the evening. So just remember, guys, that they will be taking away the qualifying. The weather will now go to overcast, and we will have our final 20-minute race here in the 2nd race of the Bravo tier, here in our round 7. Can you believe it, Ashley? Round 7 of our Vintage Terracon series this year.
That's crazy. This season is just flowing past. And yeah, we're approaching autumn already, so this year is projecting forward at a massive rate at the moment. So guys, if you would like to get involved and try to take on some of our best drivers at SARCO, please come and join us. Check out our website, www.sarcoracing.co.za. You can also check us streams on Facebook and YouTube. And yeah, get in contact, come and join us, and let's see what you've got.
I 100% agree.
And if you want a super stylish SARCO cap, check out our web store. You can buy your own trucker SARCO cap, as well as a COVID protection mask. And for those hot days, you can get yourself a nice bottle, which is pretty much a flask where you can put your cool or hot drink in. JohannVdV from Simstuff Racing trying to join the session there, but not having much luck. Luck with Mike not being in the second race. That's most unfortunate there for Simstuff Racing. Unfortunately, looking forward to seeing Johan participate tonight, but unfortunately Johan has had a bit of technical difficulty there. So Johan, perhaps you can give us a shout and we can see if we can perhaps assist you with that.
So starting to see those thumbs going up. So there, Rockstar Mel has given us the go-ahead. So we will be racing the second heat here at Oschersleben A course in Germany. Round number 7, heat number 2 for our Bravotier. So guys, if you are still out there and you are watching, thank you so much for joining us. We always do appreciate all the fans that come in and watch the drivers. Pity to see that Sarge wasn't able. He did say that he was on pace, so he would have loved to have been mixing it up here this evening. Adrian Bond saying, in the rain or the dry, go Simstuff Racing. Philip Lutz saying that you can do it, Louis, keep pushing. So unfortunately, lots and lots of pressure there for Louis, and he did finish in 4th place, but that means that he will be starting 3rd on the grid. So that is where he would be. So we're expecting to see Sly Pete out in front, with Brandon 2nd, then Louis. Rudy will be in 4th place, with Robert 5th. Mal Jacques will be in 6th, or Rockstar Mel. Then it will be Dane, Ross, Don, Terry, and then Raf.
Well, we can see Raf getting way out the way for the drivers, doing a bit of farming there.
So guys, this is not the start of the race, this is the formation lap. So the drivers will be allowing everyone to go past them. So if you do need to have a driver come past you, you just stay on the left hand side of the track, and that just signals to the drivers behind you that you're still out of position. So I must say this is quite a pacey outlap for Pete, and Brandon not wanting Pete to get away, but I'm pretty sure that coming into the last couple of corners, Pete will slow down, allow the group to bunch up a little bit, and once they've bunched up, they will be in a single file approaching the start finish line, and only once a driver has crossed that start finish line are they then able to start overtaking. So Ashley, let's talk predictions for this race. We know Rockstar Mal, he has the pace and he has the ability to get there from 6th. We do have Rudy, who's ahead of him. Rudy was one of the fastest on the track. Do you think that Rudy will be able to take the win here? Or do we see the likes of Brandon or even Louis taking a win here?
I think Brandon was a bit unlucky in the first race, but we know he hasn't been all that consistent, so he could pull a win out the bag. Yeah, you know, Pete is quick, but you know the Ferrari is not as quick as the Camaros in the draw, so he's going to have his work cut out for him. So for me, it's between Rudy and Brandon. Jocks, Rockstar Miles going to have quite a task ahead of him unless he's upset in the first couple of corners.
So everybody is through safely, no contact. That is always good to see. So Sly Pete, he's still out in front with Brandon in a second place. In a third place is Louis, having a little look to the inside of Brandon, but not close enough to make that move. Rudy, he's in a fourth place, so the guys, Terry running a little bit wide as he exits out of turn number 5. Oh, big moment there for Robert, touching that dirt on the outside. So you can see that that compromised his line through turns 9 and 10. Now they'll come up into the little chicane section. I just love the way the car feels, how the grip kind of fades and then it comes back as that suspension compresses again. Out in front, a side-by-side action, and that is between Rudy and Louis. So Rudy up into third place already, and we did mention that that was one of the areas that you were able to overtake. And Pete now has Brandon going around the outside. That is very brave. He might run a little bit wide, but he is able to keep that car on the track. So very risky move, but with high risk comes great reward, and that's Brandon now out in front in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that he got a lot more traction there and was able to get past Pete a lot easier. Ooh, but we now see a bit of a mistake there by Rockstar Mel, not slowing down quick enough. Ooh, and then we see Brandon.
No, that was Brandon.
Make a mistake as well.
Brandon went straight on into turn number 1 because we can see Pete is out in front again. Then it is Louis. But then Rudy now down into third. Robert in fourth. Oh, side by side. Brandon really aggressive here this evening. But while he's aggressive, he hasn't made contact. He's just showing his authority, I would say, here this evening. But Robert is now wide. So Brandon now back up into fourth place. And it looks like Robert and Maljacques, they were side by side in through turns number 9 and 10. And Pete has a train of Camaros behind him.
Yeah, that's definitely the Camaro train with the head of the Ferrari out in front. But I was just saying earlier how quick Brandon is, but not being consistent with every lap, and that's unfortunately costing him. He managed to get past with a brilliant overtake, and then on the very next corner.
And I was about to say we lost Pete, but there the little Ferrari just pops out in front there. So it must have been just a little lag bubble. But now Louis right up behind Pete. Will he be able to go into the inside? They are going to be side by side into turn number 1. So Pete goes a little bit wide, but he's been able to hang on to that. With Brandon now sneaks up on the inside of Louis. So very close action out in front, and it looks like Brandon was just able to leave enough space there for Louis on the outside. But now is Louis going to have a little look on the inside now through turns 4 and 5. I don't know why these guys named that corner twice, because that for me is one hairpin. Nevertheless, so this is the battle for first, second, third, fourth and fifth place. There's Robert. He's gone wide again there. Now we got sixth place in the mix as well. And that is our race winner from heat number 1. Louis is all over the back of the Rough Rider, Brandon Dos Santos. Little over rotation of the rear. And we jump back to Rudy in 4th place. There's a little gap now starting to present itself between the 3rd and 4th place driver. But Louis is throwing everything he can to keep Brandon dos Santos under pressure. And out in front, Pete is doing a sterling job. Just keeping that car in the middle of the track, not allowing anybody too much track position. So that's about 3 car lengths as Pete now heads into turn 1. Looked like Louis was going to have a look on the inside of Brandon, but that Ferrari is just transferring the grip in the front so much better than those Camaros.
Pete definitely looks like he's handling that car quite nicely, backing up the guys behind him and making that Ferrari as wide as possible. And as we spoke about earlier, this track is not very easy to overtake, so Brandon needs to find the right moment to make his move. We saw him on the first lap getting the job done, but then on the very next corner, or the first corner of the next lap, he outbraked himself and lost that position again.
That is so crazy how close these 4 are. And I think this is where Brandon has an opportunity. He should be able to get on the inside, but he just wasn't close enough. I think there was just a slight hesitation getting the power on. That's Pete going very wide. You must just be careful as he rejoins. So just touching the rear of that car, and I'm pretty sure that Louis will have a look on the inside, but he is a little bit wiser there, so he rather pulls out of that move. But Pete is definitely starting to feel the pressure as Brandon gets a great exit. That car not kicking left and right. So now Brandon will have the opportunity to move to the inside and on the braking zone into turn 1, but still not close enough. So it does look like Pete is able to get the exit done and dusted. And I'm actually getting dizzy, like driving off the bonnet here.
Wow, what an epic race this privateer second race has turned out to be, with the first 4 drivers, first 4 drivers fighting for that position. And it's
well, that's the opportunity that Brandon's been looking for. He should be on the inside now for Pete. Pete has to let him go, but is Louis going to follow him through? Just touching the brakes and slipping in behind Pete as they now go into the hairpin turns 9 and 10. And
there goes Pete.
And
unfortunately losing the back of that car and losing 2-3 positions now into 4th. And now, for his troubles, he has Rockstar Mel behind him, who won the first race, so we know he has plenty of pace.
Ash, just jump there to 7 and 8, please, because I see that Raf and Dana are having a nice little battle there themselves. That gap was in just about a second, but it does look like that gap has now opened up a bit. And there we see Ross down in 9th place. He really is battling. But now we've got Louis challenging Rudy. Are they going to go side by side into turn number 1?
So Rudy somehow got past into 2nd position. So, but I see Rudy's got a time penalty.
And so does Louis now.
So a 2-second time penalty for Louis and a 1 second for Rudy and a 3 second for Robert. 10 seconds for Terry. So I'm not sure what Terry done there, but picking up that 10-second penalty, and that's not going to help his efforts this evening. So now Brandon dos Santos with a 1.5 second lead over the guys behind him. Just slowly opening up that gap, and he just needs to keep his head down and focus, get the job done. 8 minutes left on the clock. but Rudy, in a matter of a couple of corners, has closed that gap right down and is now applying pressure to Brandon.
Yeah, this does look like this is Rudy's, well, not Rudy's race to win, but definitely Brandon's race to lose, because he was out in front. He did have a little bit of a cushion of a gap, but now we'll see when they cross the line what is that differential in terms of those lap times. So a 44 by Brandon and a 39.5 for Rudy. So definitely Brandon now starting to feel that pressure from the Simstuff driver behind him, as you see that Rudy just changes his line as Brandon just has a snap of the rear. And there is Louis in the background still fighting. We know that he's got a 2-second penalty over for himself, with Rudy 1 second, and Brandon, he's now got that time penalty as well. So it's going to be very, very close when we get into the last couple of laps. 6.5 minutes left, so we should be able to get in. That's 4 laps or so, and this race will be done. But Brandon, Brandon not able to get that power down, so he had to avoid that chicane, because Louis was on the inside. He had followed that line perfectly, having been right up behind Rudy, so that puts Brandon down into 3rd place. So the positions have changed once again in this race.
Absolutely, and Brandon very slow through that intersection, and I'm not sure what has caused that, but losing quite a bit of time there, but over Rudy and Louis. And now Louis seems to have picked up a bit of pace and can sense that there's opportunity for him here to get past Rudy for that win. So Rudy, although it's very quick, has picked up a bit of pressure now from Louis right behind him.
Let's just check in with Raf in 7th place. He does have Ross right behind him. So there is the Scottish International chasing down Raf in his Ferrari. So Raf taking a nice tight inside line. Ross trying to go around the outside and just about over-rotates it as he exits out of the hotel. And it just looks like every time Ross is coming out, that car is over-rotated, and he isn't able to get a nice smooth transition of that weight. Ross running wide, so that's going to definitely help Raf's cause, with Raf up into 7th place. Let's jump back to the leaders. Half a second is the gap now between Louis and Rudy. And it looks like Brandon is now just making a few little mistakes, trying to push too hard now. 4 minutes left. So we'll have 3 laps. You can see Rudy 139.5, Louis 139.6. That is how close the front 2 drivers are in terms of a lap time. And only Pete, Raf and Dane without time penalties. And surprisingly, those 3 drivers are in a Ferrari. So I wonder if the Ferrari has got something to do with the time penalties.
So I'm just looking at the time penalties now, Dylan. Louis with a 3-second penalty. So no wonder why he's trying to get past Rudy, because he needs to get past and plus increase that gap by 2 seconds in order to win the race. And with 3 minutes left on the clock, that's going to be a tough order to ask.
Well, look, my theory is Louis still needs to apply that pressure. He still needs to push as hard as he can. And the reason being is that anything can happen. Rudy can make a mistake, and that 3-second penalty then becomes null and void. So fight to the end as we see Jacques having a look on the inside of Pete.
Sorry, I just cut through the front there because it was really close between the two there. And will we see Louis get that slipstream? Doesn't look like he was able to get the power down in that last corner as well as Rudy did. And you can see that Rudy is not making any mistakes and just keeping that gap between himself and Louis within half a second or so.
Ooh, Rudy is wide.
Just
That's going to allow
wide
Louis.
there.
Louis on the inside, but now they're going to be a side-by-side heading to the triple. Louis is going to have to compromise his entry.
I thought we were going to see some.
Oh, great move there by Louis. Sneaks it up on the inside. Now
Wow.
Rudy now trying to fight back. Around the outside goes Louis, but he's a bit wide. But now Rudy is on the inside now through the chicane. So Louis is going to have to let him go through. Little bit of contact there, but looked like Louis came off the power, allowed Rudy to go through. So Rudy back in the lead. But that is how awesome this track is. It allows you to race. It allows you to get side by side. And through the multiple direction changes in the track, you can be on the inside for one corner, but then you're on the outside for the next one.
Absolutely. And I wonder if Louis picked up a time penalty for cutting the track there. Doesn't
Not
seem
at all.
like he did. I thought maybe going through that chicane there looked like he took a lot of curve, but hasn't received a time penalty.
So we are on the final lap, and the battle for first and second is still raging on. And Louis trying to go around the outside, out of the hotel, so close. They're now heading out of turn number 5. Now they'll go through the triple. We saw that these guys changed positions through here one lap earlier. You can see, yes, Louis very committal on that pedal going out of turn number 8, the last phase of that triple. And that's because you're essentially hitting a triple apex.
Oh, we see a car just ahead of them, and that was Terry just managing to get out the way. And Rudy almost collecting Terry there. I see now that Louis has dropped right back, so obviously picking up another time penalty. And maybe just accepting that his second position here. But the final couple of corners here for Rudy. And pretty much what you predicted. Rudy getting the win here, followed by Louis in second position. Brandon De Santos comes home in third, and a close battle there by Pete.
Yeah, look at that.
Jeez,
And
that
Rockstar.
was close.
Well,
And he actually came in third.
so
Can you believe it? So he got third position there, taking it away from Brandon, I think purely on time penalties, because Pete did not pick up any penalties and picked up that third position, took it away from Brandon on the final lap there.
So that is crazy. That's a podium for Pete. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that. So we're just quickly gathering in the final positions so that we are able to get our top 3 for the evening into our Discord chat.
I see Ross disconnected, so not going too well for our Scottish international.
So we do have the final results of this evening, and man oh man, that is extremely close. So actually, I don't know if you want to, let's just drop this in the Discord.
Yeah, unfortunately they can't hear me, Dylan, so just have to rely on them
Their
checking the
their
Discord.
intuition.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so we have everyone in in our Discord, so we can pop across there. So welcome everybody, a great racing this evening, absolutely fantastic. Let's start off with our third place driver this evening, and that's third overall, and that goes to you, Louis. Crazy racing there for you. A lot of battling and a lot of defending for you this evening.
Yes, it's been quite crazy. I've been on top of the guys have been on top of me. You're sweating buckets, you're trying to just get that spot, but you know, sometimes it's so close and so risky, you rather just kind of back off and let the guy be and you know, wait for another corner to try it again. But it was really hardcore racing tonight. My hands are sweaty, everything is just tense, man, tense.
There was that stage where you were side by side with Rudy going through the triple. He then got on the inside, going towards the chicane. You had to then let him go through and then basically start all over. So absolutely incredible, absolutely fantastic to watch.
Thanks so much, appreciate it. Yeah, and Rudy, Thank you so much, man. It was really, I was sweating buckets trying to keep up with you, man. Well done.
So then let's go to the next person overall, and that was, oh, who was that second person?
I think it was me.
Hi.
Hi.
Jacques. So yeah, second overall for you, a win for you in the beginning, and then just not able to get that pace down in the second race. It looks like the rock stars work better in the rain than they do in the dry.
Yeah, definitely. I think it keeps our palms and hand wet to play the drums or something.
So
yeah, that first race, well, I got actually a break, so, but yeah, it's not easy to try and concentrate in the rain. The second race, it's really not easy to pass on this track. I tried everything behind Pete, but he kept it sideways, so I was afraid of hitting him. So I'm on the brakes, then try again, but yeah, I must say, this is quite a difficult track for me, really. But yeah, like well done to Louis and to Rudy. Well done.
No, absolutely awesome. And then Rudy, I did put my money on you winning that second heat, saying that you were in a good position to come back, and you proved me right, so thank you very much, and an overall win there for you.
Yeah, it was a very hard race. First few laps, I thought we were going to get stuck behind Pete for the whole race, because he was making that Ferrari real wide the whole race. It was close between all of us, and then me and Louis, he had me nervous for a few times there. And but it was a good race. Really happy with the result. Finally a win again.
Absolutely awesome. And the positions, I can say, going into the last round, you've definitely closed some points up there on Robert. So really looking forward to the last round next week.
I can't wait.
Guys, thank you so much. Great driving. Thank you to all of you, and well done on your positions this evening. To Ashley for stepping in for me when I needed your assistance. Thank you very much. To the guys on the stream, thank you so much. We do really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. We appreciate the comments that come in for the drivers. So thank you very much, everyone.
Guys, if you want to get involved, if you want to take part and see what you are capable and pace yourself against our Bravo and Alpha Tier drivers, then come and check us out on SARCO Racing, our website, and you can also check us out on Facebook and watch us live stream on YouTube. You can become a member on our website, www.sarcoracing.co.za. We also have some merchandise if you would like to get yourself a cool SARCO cap. We have those available, as well as a face mask and water bottle. So come and join us, guys. We love to see you a part of the family and taking part in the races.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you on Thursday for our ACC, and that is around Zandvoort. That's going to be an absolute cracker, and then we will be back next week, Monday. So, guys, all I can say is until then, keep racing, and thanks for watching. Yos.
Cheers, guys.